Hi, welcome to another episode of Unboxing Entrepreneurship with Pallavi. So much of a startup's trajectory and the business growth depends on the founder's personality and the mindset. And we may not realize it, but it has a very, very deep impact on how the business grows. This is what I'm talking about today with Umaa Arun, founder of Fermata Career and Business Solutions. Let's get right into our conversation. Hi, Uma. Welcome to Unboxing Entrepreneurship with Pallavi.
Thank you so much, Pallavi, for inviting me here, and I'm so glad to be here with you.
Yeah, we are going to explore an interesting topic, right? We're going to talk about leadership mindset as well. But before we get into our conversation, I'd love for you to introduce yourself and the work that you do.
Sure. Thank you so much. I'll try to be as brief as possible. So, by profession, I'm an industrial organizational psychologist. I'm an entrepreneur business coach, and I'm also co-founder at Fermata Career and Business Solutions. I've been an entrepreneur for around 25 years. I'm also mother to three enterprising adults. I love reading, writing, cooking, my nature walks, watching movies, and there's my spiritual quest. And I also love trying to figure out how this fascinating world works. La Pallavi, life is about creating yourself, expressing yourself, about service, and about sharing
Yeah.
your knowledge and experience to help others grow and succeed. And my work
Hmm.
gives me the platform to do all this and more.
Awesome, awesome. So, what kind of work do you do with entrepreneurs? Please explain a little bit more about that.
Yes, so for entrepreneurs, what we help them with is in the entrepreneur business coaching, where we have our
Hmm.
business solutions vertical.
Hmm.
So we come with the belief that, everybody deserves a thriving career and business. And for
Yes.
entrepreneurs, we help them to overcome their business challenges and
Yeah.
their bring out their own entrepreneurial genius
Hmm.
and develop their organizations, their people. We also have leadership development programs at all hierarchical levels at the organization. And where
Hmm.
the businesses are with teams, we help them do the career development programs as well, like employee engagement and retention programs. So,
Hmm.
I mean, that's just in brief that we do. So we guide them with personalized and customized roadmaps as well. I mean, we design
Yeah.
that with them. So we consider
Yeah.
ourselves to sort of like value partners with our clients. So
Yeah.
in
Awesome.
fact, you can know more about us, our customers. I mean, the viewers can know more about us on our website, www.famataco.com. So
Yeah, we'll put the link in the description so that the audience can check it out later.
thank
So,
you.
like you mentioned, you work with entrepreneurs in quite a few different capacities, right? You work with them in their personal mindset, their in individual leadership skills. You also work with their teams and their organizations in helping them build processes and also developing career development of all the people involved in the business. Today, I think let's just talk about the leaders, right? The founders at the helm of the company. And I know when we were talking about it earlier, you mentioned to me that the mindset of a leader is extremely important, and it actually does affect the business a lot. And I remember you were saying that for some founders, it becomes very challenging to identify that their mindset is the one that is probably holding their business back. So, do you agree with that? And perhaps enlighten us a little bit more about that aspect.
Hey, that's a great question, Pallavi, and I'm so glad that you brought it. Like I shared with you, it's actually I've seen firsthand the impact of neglecting either your mindset or your business needs for leaders. So, on one
Hmm.
hand, if the leaders were solely focusing on their business needs, I've seen them risk
Hmm.
burnout. They
Yeah.
will have tunnel vision, or they can become even disengaged from their own people. And on the
Hmm.
flip side, those who are overly immersed in the mindset work, they might lose sight of their business goals, and the execution is not as effective as they want to. So
Hmm.
balancing both that mindset and the businesses then becomes much more crucial. But what I
Hmm.
found doable even in my case was trying to harmonize these leadership complexities with the business needs. So
Hmm.
that was there. And
Hmm.
you talk about mindset. So psychologically, I'll try to be as simple what mindset is. It
Yeah.
is collection of your beliefs, your thoughts, your habits, the
Mm.
mental attitude, all that
Mm.
that predetermines how you interpret, react, or evaluate to those the situations, events, and circumstances that come your way. In fact,
Yeah.
we all talk about the way of thinking or our mentality. So that
Mm.
is nothing more than mindset that we're talking about.
Yeah.
So to answer this question further,
Mm.
leaders' mindset in a business, like you said, and like I said, has a direct impact on all the components which are leading to business success. So
Yes.
much in our business rises and falls on our leadership.
Yes.
The way you think about your business, when it is combined with your personal aspirations, your fears, your anxieties, all that starts showing up in how your business will look like, you feel
Yeah.
like, or perform. So if I may share a personal example, when
Mm.
we had a great run, my first business for 20 plus years run, but when you see a successful business going downhill in spite of trying your best to get it back on course, it actually is shattering in every way.
Yeah.
So what was transformational for me that time was the day I adopted this mindset of taking
Mm.
100% ownership of all the
Mm.
mistakes, all the wrong decisions, all the failures, is when I
Mm.
actually started experiencing those breakthroughs and
Mm.
transforming so much in my own life and in my business. So for
Mm.
me, that has been a foundational step when it
Mm.
comes to taking those crucial decisions.
Yeah.
And to move further in the question,
Mm.
when I'm talking about ownership, so I tell you that it's very important to the practice of knowing thyself. You must have heard it again and again. So
Yeah.
it's practicing the self-awareness as we've been taught. But knowing thyself is such a tremendous and powerful exercise for a leader and to clear
Mm.
their mindset, because when you do that exercise, you gain a realistic self-assessment about
Mm.
your own strengths, your own
Mm.
weaknesses,
Mm.
what are your assumptions, what are your beliefs,
Mm.
what are your
Mm.
fears, in fact, the mental and emotional states that you're operating from. And it
Yeah.
will help you to identify the areas that you need to work on to improve on. And
Mm.
for me, that actually laid down the foundation and pace for a continuous improvement mindset. I am really in love with that. So
Yeah.
for a leader, it's so important. And how does this continuous improvement mindset that I'm talking about, how does that
Mm.
show in business or help in your business? So
Mm.
first thing is it helps you shift your thinking towards
Mm.
possibilities, it helps you to reframe that, and it can help you to reimagine and redesign your business's future. So that's your
Yeah.
first thing. And you also recognize the redundancy of the mindset, which is like, this is the way we've always been working here.
Mm.
So it does open up the flexibility in you, and it for me it helped to being more open about experimenting with new interpersonal behaviors, some things that was holding me back, but
Mm.
it did bring about that, and that helped me build long-term relationships. There was more trust and accountability that I could get into my team.
Mm.
So a leader who has this learning and growth mindset, actually will not only encourage, but they will enable a progressive learning culture in their
Yeah.
organization. That leads to better team performance. Why? Because you can have cross-functional collaborations. The
Mm.
group is not in the politics can actually be cut down or maybe totally eliminated. So we see that where people are able to learn with each other and learn from each other, that becomes like extremely important. And
Mm.
in my work with today's leaders, what I've really seen in the present business climate, that an influential leader has now become one with a mindset of being a catalyst, of
Mm.
being a facilitator who can share a common vision, who can,
Mm.
share the common purpose with your team, who also is adept at leveraging that collective intelligence or collective
Mm.
perspectives of all people.
Mm.
So that brings me to the core philosophy of leadership, what it is all about. It's all
Mm.
about people, right? I'm sure you'll agree. Leadership
Yeah.
is all about people. And
Yeah.
when I talk about people, people, apart from being creatures of habit, they're also creatures of emotion. So when you're dealing
Mm.
with people, and emotions cannot be left far behind. And
Mm.
for a leader, it having this emotional intelligence mindset then becomes so important to stay ahead in the game. And that means that a leader needs to be attuned to their own emotions as well as attuned to the emotions of their people. And,
Yes.
we see the conflicts in the interpersonal dynamics, and this being an emotional intelligent mindset definitely helps you to navigate them smoothly.
Yes.
And when I'm talking about emotional intelligence, a business has challenges all the way, and
Mm.
uh, you will be having situations where you have to skill yourself to manage your disruptive emotions and impulses. We've seen what goes wrong when you cannot manage that as a
Mm.
leader, right?
Mm.
So if you learn the skill of managing your emotions and impulses in challenging situations, that actually will help you to deal with those same situations with more grace, with more dignity, with more
Mm.
composure.
Mm.
uh, as a leader, you will go through, conflicts happening, team blunders go on, the teams can
Mm.
goof up. You have to
Mm.
meet tight deadlines, right? You have to have those tense and difficult conversations with your customers. So
Yeah.
your emotional control as a leader then becomes of paramount importance, right?
Mm.
And
Mm.
like I just spoke about, business has its share of ongoing challenges and problems. So if you're
Yeah.
being reactive, that's only going to flare your problems, adding fuel to the fire. You're not going to get you the right solutions.
Yeah.
So I've seen like when you start going this emotional intelligent path, you start
Mm.
learning to build emotional resilience. We've all heard
Mm.
about resilience, but being emotionally resilient for a leader becomes
Mm.
really, really important. How do you start building that? So, you
Yeah.
find yourself in that reactive, responsive situation, you step back. You step
Mm.
back a bit, you restrain yourself, you pause a bit. And that's
Mm.
the time when you are able to gain more clarity to, make those sound decisions. There's so much of chaos and noise and high stress situation for a leader. So it actually helps to step back and reflect a bit, pause. And
Mm.
it's over a period of time that this emotional resilience will be built. But
Yeah.
it does help you overcome the overwhelm most of the leaders have to deal with on their own.
Yeah.
And it also enables you to approach those challenges in front of you with more calm, with mindfulness.
Yeah.
And when you that state, you can actually make better choices, Pallavi, and you can make informed decisions.
Yeah.
Um, so when I'm talking about emotional savviness, I have to talk about being empathetic and humble.
Yes.
Empathy and humility, they go a long way to power up your influence as a leader. And
Mm.
you would have heard there is so much conversation around these two,
Mm.
in today's climate. Why more so in today's time? Because the modern workforce has so multi-generational now. There are from diverse cultural backgrounds, and I've
Mm.
seen most leaders who are struggling to, build up the engagement or to get the feeling of belongingness or team cohesiveness, all that. So
Mm.
alongside this emotional intelligence, a leader needs to also foster an inclusive mindset.
Mm.
So it's a combination of that. Only then can you
Mm.
be receptive of the different perspectives that people should bring in your
Mm.
culture.
Mm.
So when you're practicing empathy, humility, inclusivity, you as a leader are able to resist that urge of being always right. I'm the
Mm.
boss. No,
Mm.
you become a leader who will value service, and
Yeah.
you can shift the spotlight from you. I'm the hero. No, you shine the spotlight on other people. You're able to acknowledge them and appreciate them for their contributions. And I was also able to, when I was practicing all that, I was also able to let go of there is this false confidence and false control, which is an illusion.
Mm.
I let go of that, and that was so damn important. And
Mm.
it also allows you not to be a micromanager.
Yeah.
Most of the leaders just get into that, and that's just like a downhill path when it comes to building
Mm.
this relationship. Instead of that, influence your people with the belief that let's grow together. I'm there to support you. And that way you will be able to create an engaged, motivated, involved workforce. And it will also help you create that great company that you're aspiring for, right? And additionally, you would be surprised, or you would know maybe, that both empathy and humility play a key role when it comes to attracting talent, when it
Yes.
comes to developing and retaining those good people. We're seeing so much of churn going on, but these two traits, with your inclusivity and receptiveness and openness, does help you, retain those good people, to help you build those high performance teams. If that is what you're aspiring for as a leader in your business, and so this is what you need to work on, with yourself, within yourself, right?
Yeah.
So as a leader, you will lead the way. You also have to show the way. So why not show the way in an emotionally intelligent way? I mean, that
Yeah.
way is only going to build like better connections with your people. And when we're talking about mindset, Pallavi, there is another mindset that I really feel is of pivotal importance for any leader to incorporate or to learn, and that is the strategic mindset. I myself, honed my skills of being a strategist, and it really, really shows that the results are right in front of you when you see the success coming up. So in a business, all of us have to set goals. We have to craft strategies. We have to design action plans. So that's very basic out there. But when you're aligning all those needs with with the mindset of a strategist and your business priorities, now you know what comes into play is like a team which is so cohesive, which is also like a business which is I mean, that's a stepping stone for your success of your business,
Yes.
because and also bringing in, also powering up the continuous mindset, improvement mindset that we've been talking about. So
Yeah.
in a strategic role, a leader has to demonstrate commitment to the shared vision that we spoke about a bit ago, right? You have to show, I'm committed to that. You have to display the integrity. You have to display integrity to bring about the trust and the relatedness that you're talking about. You have to be uh, weaving in transparency in your workplace culture. How else will you be able to bring in accountability and trust if you yourself are not bringing in the value, you're showing the way, with integrity, with commitment, with transparency, and designing ethical practices at work. That in a strategic mindset, the leader needs to be very cognizant of that fact.
Yeah.
And most importantly, so many leaders are so gung-ho on control. Uh, and that never really helps, because what happens when you are not relinquishing that control, it just that doesn't open you up to do the big picture work. So
Yeah.
you need to do the strategic delegation to free your time from your tactical operations, to really zoom out to do that big picture work as a leader.
Yeah.
And I would like to add that I've seen so many small business owners today neglect systematizing their business. So when I say systematizing, like you're not a very big fan of systems. You want processes and systems, but you're not really making that happen. So a major outcome of not doing this, of neglecting this, is for a leader have suffered emotional downward spirals. They have suffered burnouts. And as a strategist leader, you will understand the value and benefits of systems thinking for your business, in your business.
Yeah.
And taking professional help to create system actually is an investment for growth. And
Yeah.
so when we talk about strategy, strategic mindset, and the skills that we spoke about, Pallavi, it actually is a huge plus, a huge bonus at the time when a leader wants to introduce change in their business. And it is such a skill that it'll help you overcome the hindrances to change, to help you reduce those resistances to change that we all see. Change is not an easy thing for a leader to bring about. People are so resistant to it. But when you are a strategist leader who have been like organically building up a culture like that, building up your mindset and your people's mindset like that, you will be able to ensure that successful change is adopted at work. So
Yeah.
isn't it I think it's very worthwhile
Yeah.
to inculcate those. Um,
Yeah.
Corresponding to all these mindsets, today you will see conscious leadership, the term coming up. So conscious, it's a conscious, responsible leader that I'm talking about. And if you are one of those, and if you can be one of those, you must foster psychological safety at workplace. That's another term which we've been coming across, and it actually is pretty important. Now, what actually is psychological safety at workplace? People keep asking. So very, very simply put, it's a belief that your employees feel, that they won't be punished for speaking up their mind or speaking about their ideas or their concerns or even telling you about their mistakes. So that is what psychological safety means at
Yeah.
workplace, and all that starts from you, and the responsibility onus lies on you as a business leader to do
Yeah.
that. So, some ways that very simply that you can create psychological safety at workplaces when you can make your people feel comfortable to voice their opinion, when you can make them feel that their voices matter, that they're heard, when you are actually giving your time and attention to them, to listen to them and to understand them, when whenever their mistakes translate more into learnings,
Yeah.
and you're not either punishing them or ridiculing them in public, when you can put in the message that, guys, it's okay to go and try those creative, say innovation, the solution that you have in mind. You don't need to be perfect at it, but just go ahead and try, and be there to support you. You know what I'm getting at, and that is the kind of atmosphere or the climate or the culture that you can build up as a thing, and that's when your people feel psychologically safe. And how does that benefit you and your business? Of course, your team will be so engaged and motivated and involved. The creative juices will be flowing. They can take calculated risk when you let them do that. You will create you build up the energy in your work environment. It becomes more positive. And not only that, about a while ago, I spoke about the learning culture. You will reinforce that culture of learning. You will reinforce the continuous improvement mindset in your organization that we just spoke about.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So,
So,
yeah.
yeah. So we covered quite a few things about the mindset, but I would like to touch upon two of them very specifically. So, you spoke about continuous improvement, and I actually would like to share an example of where I felt that has clearly made a difference. So I'm a second-time entrepreneur, and my first organization that I had, we had a great product, so we thought. And we did get feedback from our customers about certain changes that we could make. And we had the mindset, me and my co-founder, we had the mindset that we said, okay, this is probably a very small percentage of the people who are asking for a change. I don't need to fix this now. Let me continue with what I have and try and sell it as it is, because I don't want to invest my time right now on improving something that I have already spent a lot of time creating. I would rather focus on selling it. Fast forward to about 5 years down the line, where it was very clear to us that what we had created needed an overhaul. But we were so overwhelmed by how much work was required to overhaul it that we chose to instead shut it down. In my second company, I very subconsciously, I think, went the other way, that I take feedback from my customers and I make small adjustments, which makes me feel that I'm more agile. My company is more agile. My company understands what the changing trends are, and I'm also now in the business where trends change very quickly. But I don't feel overwhelmed if I have to revamp it. If I look at where I was 4 years ago when I started this company, the offerings that I had were very different. And if I had to shift it very quickly, I'm sure I wouldn't have done it. But because I've taken small steps along the way, my business continues to be relevant to the customer. So I think that when you were talking about continuous improvement, and when you were talking about one of the mindset that a leader needs to have and the impact it has on the business, I wanted to share this because I think there it draws a very clear outcome of, what happens if you don't have that mindset. What does it mean for your business? It's a limitation that perhaps the leader has, that the leader feels that I don't want to focus, I don't want to divert my attention on making these small adjustments, but in the long run it affects your business in that manner. That was one of the things that I wanted to share. The other question that I wanted to ask you, what you've told me, all the mindset that you mentioned, the one that stood out for me was the emotional intelligence. And I know that for some people, being emotionally connected to how they are feeling and how it impacts the people around them, especially in a professional setting, I think that can be quite challenging for them to come to terms with. Have you faced this resistance? And if so, what is it that you tell the leaders? How do you coach them through that? If you could share just a couple of examples. Just an example, one would be good. Thank you.
Yeah, so first, I need to thank you for sharing your own story, because that really made it very clear for so many listeners, and I'm glad that you did so. Emotional intelligence, yes. So what I tell my leaders, in business, it's we've seen how common it is sometimes during those challenges that you're facing alone. You tend to experience self-doubt. You tend to second guess yourself so many times, and that holds you back from growing. So we work with them in a way that they can shift their internal dialogue from self-doubt to self-assurance, and to building up more of your self-confidence. And that way you become more confident in handling criticisms. You have always will have naysayers in your business. So the imposter keeps creeping in. So it helps you to deal with that whenever you have to make tough decisions, or, handling stressful situations. We do that. And what we've also helped in emotional intelligence is, so many of them take their business as very seriously too.
Yes.
Apart from the trace of empathy, humility, and other things that we spoke about this, before I touch upon the other heavier topics, I really do want to talk about that, business leadership and business doesn't have to be all serious business, because I've seen the impact when all you need is a non-offensive sense of humor to lighten these stress. Yourself and for the workplace. You need to have an upbeat attitude, when you come at work. You can infuse some energy at workplace, and your energy. So you can increase that motivation all by this. You show your human side. How many leaders, just keep to themselves and think it's so serious, and I don't want to show and talk about anything. We hear about sharing vulnerabilities. You don't need to be very vulnerable. Just be selectively vulnerable. You need to connect at a deeper level with people. And when I spoke to my team about the mistakes that we've committed and the learnings that we took from there, it actually, opened up more. We connected a bit more there, and it was very powerful, kind of an invisible kind of a permission that you give to the other person. You give them that trusting space to open up about their imperfections and this thing. It will deepen your relationship with this thing. So that is one part of that emotional thing that we have done and we do. The other is about, this negative self-talk that can happen. There is so much of peer comparisons that we can, leaders can go ahead and do, because you stuck up in that kind of competition world. So we sit with them, we work and to understand, tell them we have assessments that lead the way for us. or to open up something which is right in front of you. So we help you build up those strengths. We speak about your past experiences that you've had. And there is so much more that opens up for the leader right in front of them to understand that, you have to work more on yourself and work more on your business, where your focus and attention is going and where your energy is going. So, and then they start, it just starts shifting their whole thinking, whole perspective. And that's the entire idea of coaching, to bring you from where you are stuck, to actually make you be aware of those breakdown areas. And that is from there to lead you to learn to accept and then start improving and working on that. So, that is how we start building up ourselves.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely. And I feel like a lot of the challenge that people face is because they simply don't even know that what they are going through is something that, other people have seen. Like, you mentioned imposter syndrome, and that immediately caught my attention because every first time an entrepreneur feels that imposter syndrome. Every time they feel that whatever I need to say is not important, right? Why would anybody listen to me? Why should I be in the limelight? Because what I have to say is not important. And I think that when that awareness happens, and whether they get that awareness internally, or someone like you comes along and tells them that this is normal, what you're feeling is normal, but here's how you get through it. I think that is extremely empowering for them. I'm glad that there are people like you who actually work with the person to get them to a more confident and a much more, basically make them a much greater leader because of all the work that you do. I do feel that we have kind of only scratched the surface of so much that we could have talked about today, but unfortunately we are soon out of time. But thank you so much, Umaa. You have shared so much in such a short space of time. You've talked about so many different mindsets, and I feel that anybody who's watching it, they would have got something that they definitely can relate to. Out of all the 6-7 things that you mentioned, I feel even if that one thing catches somebody's attention and they work on themselves or their organization in that area, it'll help them to get to a better place. So I'm very grateful to you for coming and talking today. And thank you so much for your time, Umaa.
Thank you so very much, Pallavi. And if you can permit, I would just like to take 2 minutes just to
Sure.
sort of wrap up for the listeners, for our leaders.
Yeah.
It is in today's business world, it is very essential for the leaders to also remain relevant in their business. They need to be alert to the world's, the subtle shifts and turns that is going on, and also to be aware that the role of the diversity is playing in today's world. You understand the complexities of the time, place, and people. And I want to leave you with a quote by Adam Grant, to summarize the question that you spoke about, the alignment between leadership mindset and your business realities.
Yeah.
I quote, good leaders build products, great leaders build cultures, good leaders deliver results, great leaders develop people, good leaders have vision, great leaders have values, and good leaders are role models at work, while great leaders are role models in life, unquote. I mean, that really opened up so much for me. I have it right in front of me so that it just reminds me where am I going good and great at. So I hope
Yeah.
that helps leaders out there. And
Yeah,
thank you so very
absolutely.
much for giving me this extra time and this space to voice out and express myself. Thank you so very much, Pallavi.
Thanks for coming on the show. Bye.
Bye-bye.